Hey, this is JC and welcome to Small Brick City, where we want to help you build a Lego city regardless of the space you have. In this video, we're going to explore how to build a simple elevator for a Lego modular building or a building MOC. I've built several of these elevators, such as for my tiny modular building, which is 1/4 the size of a standard building, and my skyscraper, which I have in two parts over here. This is just one design of a possible elevator, but it is simple to build and easy enough to incorporate into your building MOC. However, I will teach you how to scale it up so that you can include it into larger buildings if you like. Let's get started. Over here I have my tiny modular building, which is a butcher store, an office, and an art gallery. If you're interested to check out the video for this tiny modular, do follow the link in the card above or in the description below. There's a small elevator at the back of the building. This is manually powered, meaning you just hold on to this connection and raise the elevator where you want it to go. I don't have any stopper to stop the elevator at any one particular floor because I do think this is manually powered, so you can just use your hand to stop it wherever you want it to stop. I've got a similar elevator over here at the back of my skyscraper. It is slightly different in the position in terms of the building and how it's integrated in the building, but the concept is really the same. The design is also very similar. The only difference is this connection handle over here, but you can raise it up and down as well. First, let's have a look at the elevator itself, and then I'll show you how to construct the elevator shaft. This particular elevator is just an open platform. There's no elevator box, although I'll show you how you can build one of this later in the video. I decided to go with this open platform because it doesn't take up too much space, and for the purposes of my building, I didn't want it to take up too much space. If you have a larger city with larger buildings, you can of course build a larger elevator. So what we're looking here is just the concept, and you can scale up anytime you like. There's also a precedent for this. The Ninjago city build does have an open elevator, and that's really tiny as well, only big enough for one minifig. So I take Lego's queue and I just followed the example of having an open elevator, but I designed this particular one. So here are the parts that you need to build the elevator. The most important is the Technic piece with a cross pin, which I have right over here. The reason why you want a Technic pin, this cross connector, as well as this Technic brick with this cross hole, is you want a connector that doesn't spin and rotate. If you use something with a round hole and you place the connector in, everything will just turn, and when you try to lift up the elevator in the shaft, it'll be really difficult because this turns. So you do want a Technic brick with this cross hole and a connector with a cross pin, and you want some kind of handle. So it really depends what you have. For example, I had this little piece here which works well. In this particular case, I didn't have that piece, but I had another piece which was a T connector, almost like that, which forms another holder like that. So you can just work with different Technic parts and see what works for you to create a handle. In this case, I have this pin and this particular piece here, and I'll get to these two pieces in just a bit. For the size of the elevator platform, you want to start off with a 4x4 piece, but really this elevator will be 5x4, and the reason is simply because of the parts needed to fit within the shaft. So to create the extension, you just need another 1x4 plate, and you can hold everything together with two 2x4 plates just like that. So this is how I create my extended surface for the elevator platform. Now you want to put your Technic brick, but due to the design of the elevator shaft, you can't put it onto this particular plate. You have to put it somewhere here. Therefore, you need a 1x6 plate which goes underneath, just like that, and you can put the Technic brick on. But now you need to sandwich this in such a way that it's really secure, so that when you hold the connector and bring the lift up and down, this brick will not break off. So to do that, you need to build this area up and sandwich this Technic brick between the 1x6 plate and another part. So I'm going to use two 1x4 plates to put this on like that. So now everything is in line, and I can take a 1x6 tile piece and sandwich everything together. So that's pretty secure. Now I can take the Technic pin and put it in like that, but just to make it aesthetically more pleasing, I use this sleeve and I place it here. You don't have to do this, but the good thing about this is it acts as kind of a stopper, and it covers this particular dark tan Technic pin. And I use a round towel just to cover the end. Again, this is just to beautify it, and it's not really important for the function. And then we have the basic structure of the platform. But just for the safety of minifigs, I'm going to place these two right angle panels here. These are 1x4. And just so that it doesn't feel like there's nothing in front, I put this grill piece over here. And that completes my elevator. I can comfortably place two minifigs standing onto this plate, or if I really want to squeeze them, I can put 3 of them. Now let's have a look at the elevator shaft. I would just like to point out the shape and the design of the elevator shaft. First, notice that the elevator shaft itself, or the hollow space, is 1 stud wider or deeper. I found that this is important because if you make it fitting, it really makes it hard for the elevator to go up and down easily, just because there's too much friction. And I found that if you leave 1 space, it really works well, and it's not enough space for the minifigs to drop in and die, although they have to be careful when they make the step over to the elevator door. But in any case, I find that this is the right proportion. Always leave 1 stud of depth, and it works really well. Notice the shape of the shaft itself. It is fitting in all ways, but there is an open corner over here, and that's for the elevator platform bar or extension to come out, so that the arm over here is exposed, and that allows you to grab it and to bring everything up and down. This particular design and the use of this extension brick over here just keeps everything straight and in place. If you just had a rod or a round piece extending out from this slot, you'd find that the whole elevator would just rotate and be really unstable. So having a brick and plate combination gives some depth and some area space for you to work with, and keeps everything straight. See, there's no way that the elevator platform can twist inside. Okay, so with that out of the way, I can show you how to build the elevator shaft itself. I will use this plate here, and we'll just pretend that this is the base plate of the building. I won't be building the building, of course. I'll just be building the elevator shaft, and we've got some parts here ready to build. So the first thing you need to do is to figure out the position of where you want the elevator shaft to be. So let's just assume it's going to be somewhere here, and you'd place the elevator that you have built overhanging the base plate like that. So what you need to do is to build an extension out that wraps around the elevator. So to do that, I'm first going to extend the base by putting this corner plate as well as this 1x3 gray plate. And you can see what I've done is to effectively extend the base plate around the elevator. So now you have to lock this in place, and as with any Lego technique, you want to overlap the joints. So I'm going to use this 1x4 plate over here to hold this down, and I'll use this 1x6 plate to hold everything down here. So this is what I'm left with. What I'm going to do is to use these black plates to mark out the footprint of the elevator shaft. And this is a similar technique that I share when building mock buildings. You use plates to basically mark out the outline of the building that you're building. So remember, you do want to keep that 1 space of allowance. So I'm going to use these 2 corner plates to create this allowance, and I'll put a 1x4 here. And just to finish it off, I'll need a 1x2 plate. So what I've done is to create the footprint of the elevator, and behind you can see, or underneath, this is how it looks like. You will build on top of this, so to make sure that this extension is going to be really secure. So in this case, you just use plates. I've kind of pre-built a wall here using various white bricks, and always making sure I overlap joints. So I have a combination of a corner brick, 1x4 bricks, 1x2 bricks, and 1x6 bricks, and that creates this wall. So you're really just building up a wall. And you can see, because of the bricks and the overlapping build technique, this becomes pretty much secure. And for the other side, all I'm doing is just using 1x6 bricks. For the front, I have a door with a door frame, and that goes there. And that's basically all I'm going to build, because I'm just demonstrating how to build the elevator shaft, and you build this all the way up. and as you can see, what happens is you can now fit the elevator inside. Now notice there are exposed plates here, and you need to level this up. So what I recommend is just to put tiles, and I'm using 2x2 tiles here, and you would just cover the base up. And this is just to make the elevator platform secure or level when you put it down. And you need a 1x4 tile, which I don't have right now. But this basically goes there, and this goes up here. And now it's more or less secure. So that is how you build this very simple elevator and the elevator shaft. And eventually you'd build it all the way up till you get to something like this. In the case of a modular buildings are basically buildings which can be removed floor by floor, and you need to tile the top edge of each level with tiles as well as jumper plates, and that's so that the next preceding floor can fit. So in the case, this is the ground floor here. I've got the plates and tiles, and correspondingly I've got plates underneath here. So this allows me to attach one floor to the next. But notice how this is built exactly the same way, and I'm just building up exactly the same way. Of course, you change the design as you like it in terms of the colors and stuff like that. Notice how I've used some window pieces here. This is really up to you. It's up to your personal preference, but the concept is you're building the elevator shaft aligned for each and every floor. What I've found is really important when you're building these modular style buildings, you want to have a stud really on this end, this loose wall over here, or this overhang wall over here, and studs on this side over here. This is important because you really need to make sure that this holds together. If you do not have a stud on this free wall or this overhang wall, you'd find that there will not be a good alignment, and when you put the elevator inside, it will get caught, because what will happen is a preceding floor may jut in and cause the alignment to go out. So remember, you've got to put a stud on the very corner of this particular overhanging wall, and have studs on this side as well. And of course, you have regular studs as you would for any modular building. If you are building up to a certain height, for example, in this 3-story building, notice there's a bit of a difference. In this case, I do have the elevator shaft going all the way through to the floor, but for the top floor, there's no need to do that. You can actually just have this opening to the point where it stops at the floor, because technically the elevator doesn't need to go all the way to the roof. That's why I built up this entire area, just having a height of, well, basically the same height of here. In this case, it happens to be 1 brick and 2 plates. And see how the elevator now is flush, it can't go up anymore, and I've closed up the top. This serves several purposes. You do not need to open up any more than you need to. Second, this makes this floor really stable because you've closed up most of it, and when you press this on the rest of the modular floors, it allows the entire building to be more stable as well. Because with any kind of build, naturally when it's open like that, even though it is stable, it cannot be as stable as a closed up building like that. So that's an important tip to know. Remember, I talked about scalability at the start of the video, and that is how you can make your elevator bigger to fit a larger building, or maybe you just want to have a larger elevator. You take the same concept of building this and basically make it go up proportionately. In this case, instead of this size, I'll be using this base plate as the base of my elevator. So this is just the concept. You do not need to follow this exact design, but it'll give you an idea of how you can make the elevator bigger. So I'm just going to create a box elevator by using these parts over here. And I'm using 1x1 columns as well as door frame or large window frame pieces. And you can see this is basically the structure of the elevator. But I do need this particular Technic brick to be placed on the outside once again, something like that. So the way I'm going to do that, I'm going to use a longer plate to create this extension arm. And just like before, we need to fill up the space. So I'm going to use 1x6 plates over here. And you want to sandwich this to make sure this Technic brick is really firm in place. But you do not want to tile it as I did with the platform, because with the platform, you can just tile it straight away because you have no back. But in the case of a box style elevator such as this, you do want to create a back for this. So instead of a tile, you use a plate to sandwich everything together, and that holds everything in place just like that. And to create the box, I'm going to use these window frames, or the back rather, and that goes over just like this. And that creates the back. I've got an exposed tile plate here, so I'll just use a towel to cover it. And now you need a roof, and so I can use the plate just like that, and I fit it over everything, and I'll try to connect all the studs with the underside of the plate, and then we have this nice box style elevator with a door which can open. And if you want, you can use one of these connectors like this, put it on top. And now you can even use a winch system instead of this if you do not want to, and you can lift up the elevator this way. If not, you can still stick to this manual style of a system, but you can add on some boxes or gears to look like the top of an elevator. So you can really build it the way you want, but that's how you can scale up the elevator and make it a box style one. I hope you enjoyed this video on how to build a simple elevator for your LEGO Expert Modular building. Do let me know if you intend to incorporate this design in your building mock. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the comments below. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't, please subscribe to the channel and turn on that notification bell. Thanks for watching. Talk to you soon.